Welcome to the Pageantry Podcast.
And today's very special pageantry guest is your newly crowned Miss America 2019, Miss Nia Franklin. Nia, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Happy to be here with you.
Well, I'm so excited to speak to you today. And again, I know you have a very busy schedule, so if you're ready, we'll jump right into our pageantry interview.
Let's jump right in.
What could possibly have been going through your mind as you stood there center stage awaiting the final announcement for Miss America 2019?
Many things were going through my mind. I had visions of me winning the crown and what that would be like, but also if I was still blessed to be the first runner-up to Miss America, and kind of what I would do from that point on as Miss New York, because I definitely wanted to do as much as I could for the organization either way, whether that was representing as Miss New York for the remainder of the year or as Miss America. But there was a moment in my crowning, and as I keep seeing it played over and over on different shows that I go to, and they play that moment before I won, my eyes just kind of blink once because I was so just honored and humbled and a little bit in shock that it was really happening and coming to fruition.
You know, and in capturing the title, you made history, as many of your predecessors has, as Miss New York. What is it about New York that seems to prepare you so well?
Miss New York is a title and an organization that really allows you to do the things that you want to do during your year. And I think also being in the North, and specifically I lived in New York City, where you have to be very independent and you also have to be aware of different cultures and diversity, and it really takes a lot to get people interested in the pageant world here, because there's so much going on, and you have to kind of fight for the relevancy and fight for attention in a way. You're competing against Broadway and the opera and New York Ballet. So being aware of all of that and making sure that you still find a place to stand out and a place for people to still recognize you and want to be a part of the work that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And you've stated before that you have New York grit. What does that mean?
That phrase, everyone is just so intrigued by my New York grit, that soundbite. But what it really means to me is I moved up here with kind of a dollar and a dream. I had just finished competing as Miss Durham in the Miss North Carolina organization that summer of 2017, and I was coming up here for a Lincoln Center fellowship. And I've already done things in my life that I would consider hard, and things that I've had to overcome, different adversities. But the moving to New York is what gave me kind of the title to put on the grit that I already had. I've done a lot in my life. I premiered my first ever opera when I was 21 years old, and I was one of two female composers to graduate my year from school. And so I've always been very hard on myself, and I've always wanted to do things that were a little outside of the box. And so I've always been a hard worker when it came to my music and my career. But moving to New York really solidified my work ethic, because New York can be very, very competitive. Just to get a job, it can be very competitive in New York, let alone in the field of music and the arts, which are very hard industries to break into, especially as a female composer.
One of my favorite yearly trips to Miss America is during the Show Me Your Shoes parade. What was it like cruising down the boardwalk? Rainy, of course, again this year, with adoring fans left and right.
It was an amazing feeling, and you really just felt a sense of support from not only the people watching you, the different pageant fans, but also your family and your friends, because you're kind of secluded for 2 weeks and you're only around the candidates and your chaperones. You can miss your family and friends a lot, and so that is the one day where they can come cheer you on and support you, and being able to see their smiling faces was what really meant the world to me. And there was no feeling like being in that parade. I've been in parades before, but that was one of the special ones for sure.
It is maniacal. I love it up there. So let's go. After the screaming fans died down Saturday night, of course, Sunday night, you headed off to the initial media tour in New York. Whom did you visit, and what was that like?
We did a lot of media. We kicked off the morning at Good Morning America, and it was so cool to be on there. I was still so shocked about even winning at that point. So it was an early morning that we went to Good Morning America and was interviewed there, and then we went to Kelly and Ryan, and that was also crazy. They let me sing one of my songs, and they just had such a great energy. They were so energetic and excited for me, and I even had conversations with them after the interview on camera, and they were just so fun to be around. And I did a lot of other ABC affiliates, which means I was talking to reporters in Texas and then Colorado. So being able to just tell everyone why I'm excited to be Miss America, what I plan to do with my year was amazing, because I truly do want to do everything I can during my year to make it one of the best years of my life. Mm-hmm.
And, of course, if I'm not mistaken, you met with one of my good friends, Miss Megan Alexander of Inside Edition.
I did. I did the nighttime TV shows as well. Mm-hmm. She was really nice.
And, of course, while in New York, weren't you a special guest at the Metropolitan Opera's opening night?
Yes, that was last week. So I went to Atlantic City for about a week. I was in Atlantic City after my press tour, and then I also went to California, and then I was able to come back to New York, and I was able to be kind of a special guest at the Met Opera's opening night gala. And I mean, the whole night was just such a magical night, from walking on the step and repeat red carpet to seeing legends in the opera industry, such as Anna Netrebko, and being able to see the opera that night. It was a really great production. It was fun. There was actually some dancing in it. And then finishing up at the dinner, where I was able to sit with some very important people at the Met that I plan on working with during my year to continue promoting arts education.
And with yourself being an opera, that had to be very special.
It was very special, and in fact, this past week I was back at the Met again. I went with a friend, and we saw La Boheme, which is the opera that my competition song at Miss America this year came from. And a former Miss America contestant, Angel Blue, was actually singing that role, who is phenomenal soprano from California, and she was actually first runner-up to Miss California a few years ago. And so watching her sing that song was so surreal, and it was very sentimental for me. And so the Met will kind of always have a special place in my heart because of them giving me the opportunity to go and not only see her, but they actually let me go backstage and meet her as well. And that was very special to me.
You're a composer as well. In fact, you've been composing since a young age, correct?
Yes, I've been writing songs my whole life. I started out at like 5 years old. That was when I wrote my first song, and then I went on to study music composition for 6 years. So I have my degree in music composition at a bachelor's degree as well as a master's degree in music composition.
How does it feel when you're performing on stage?
It feels like I get to share a piece of who I am with the audience, and music is deeply embedded into who I am. I've always been just infatuated with music and the sounds that it makes and how it makes you feel, and it makes me feel like I have a purpose in life. And so being on the stage is a moment for me to live out my purpose.
Why do you feel the arts are so important in today's society? They seem to get pushed aside.
The arts are important because a lot of times they tell a story, and whether it's the artist telling their story and getting their message out into the world, or whether you're on the other end of that and you're receiving the art, you learn something new about that person, the world, and even yourself. And so the arts, as cliche as it may sound, they really do allow you to express yourself. And for me, on a personal note, being involved in the arts, especially when I was growing up, a lot of times you don't know who you are when you're in middle school and even high school. You can feel lost, and you don't know what you want to do with your life, and you can feel even sometimes like an outcast, which that was kind of the case for me through a lot of my schooling, being one of the only minorities in my school. And sometimes even within your own group, you can feel like you don't belong. And that's simply because of the color of your skin, and that doesn't define who you are. And so sometimes you may still feel like you don't have a place. But for me, I was a star in I don't mean to sound cocky, but like I found that I really stood out and in a good way, in a positive way amongst my peers in my chorus class. I was actually the only one in my school to make the North Carolina Honors Chorus my year, and I was the only one to do so in a couple years. And that gave me a sense of pride in myself and confidence to pursue my dreams and to really go on and study music composition, because there was no one in my family that had went to study music composition. There wasn't even really anyone in my chorus class that had aspirations like that. So it was important to me to feel like I had something special to offer, and being involved in the arts while I was going through school is what helped to foster that confidence.
As well as being a member of Sing for Hope and the Artist Corps.
Yes, that was something that I did later in life. Artist Corps was an organization that I was able to get involved with when I was a grad student at UNC-SA, the School of the Arts in North Carolina. And being involved with that organization allowed me to go and instruct students in music who didn't have any music classes simply because of budget. I mean, there was no budget for music. And so it was a small grant that North Carolina's governor's office gave to us and some other private donors to go and have the supplies and the resources to bring arts into schools that didn't have any, or even be a supplement to the teachers that they already had. Because, as you know, sometimes you may have a school with 1,000 kids, but they only have one music teacher, and that simply is very almost impossible to teach every child in the way that they deserve to be taught with such a small budget and such a small staff for 1,000 kids or so. And so that's what that program was all about. And then Sing for Hope is a program, is an organization here in New York City, and they are focused on getting the arts into the communities in a way that they haven't been before, making it more accessible for people of all ages to feel like they understand the arts and feel included into what it is that music does for people.
Excellent. As Miss America, even though it's early in your year of service, you're getting ready to enjoy the famous tour schedule across the country. What are you looking forward to most?
I'm really looking forward to going to my team's homecoming in Texas. I've never been to Texas before, and I really haven't gotten the chance to spend much time with her since I won. And this is a mentor program, and so I'm excited to go support her and make sure that she feels loved and special during that time. And I'm also looking forward to going to Orange County's Children's Miracle Network Hospital. That will be my first official visit as Miss America. And then lastly, I am very excited to just continue spreading the message of arts matter, music matters, and I'll be giving some speeches at different organizations, even like AmeriCorps. They have their member launch coming up soon, and Artist Corps is under AmeriCorps, and so I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to spread the message of advocating for the arts.
I did find it extremely interesting that you had donated stem cells to your father as he was battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Was that a hard decision?
No, it wasn't a hard decision at all. I didn't really even give it a second thought. I didn't know all that was going to go into it at the time, but I didn't really care. I knew that whatever I could do for my father, my personal emotions or feelings aside, it didn't matter. So I just was really focused on him at the time. That was really my priority. And it turns out that the risks of being a stem cell donor can be different for different people and different procedures that you do. The biggest risk with the type of stem cell donation that I did, which was peripheral stem cell donations, was that I could have been at risk for getting blood clots and having trouble breathing. And also fainting, which did happen to me during the time of the procedure when they were harvesting the stem cells. But it was really wonderful to do all of that for him. I think it made me a stronger person, made me a more empathetic person. And at the end of the day, it helped to save his life, because without that procedure, I don't know that he would be here today with us.
That is amazing. I commend you. And wow, that's all I can say is wow.
Well, thank you.
Miss America is renowned as the largest scholarship provider for women in the world. How much have you earned through the organization?
To date, I have earned about $67,000 between my local. I've been competing in the system for about 3 years now, and between my local competitions that I've done and my state competitions, and obviously the Miss America organization, where I received the biggest scholarship to date, I've been able to help pay off some of my loans and even get supplies that I needed for school. So that has been super, super helpful, and I'm so grateful for the Miss America organization, because that is partially and one of the main reasons that I decided to get involved, because I wanted to be able to earn extra money for college, and I also did want to have and build relationships with other young women who shared similar interests as me. So I'm forever grateful for that and for this program for doing that for me.
Of course, nowadays there's a lot of opinions out there, but what would you tell other people, other young ladies looking to become involved with the organization?
I would tell them to certainly just give it a try. Locals are happening almost every weekend. We're kind of getting in the heat of the season. So I would say look for a local that you feel you can really make an impact on while you are that local title holder, and maybe find something that's close to your school or maybe in your hometown. And also I would really encourage the young women that want to get involved in the local to find someone who can mentor them, because that is a huge part of this organization, the mentorship aspect, and that's what I have appreciated most. One of my dear friends now was giving up her local title when I was competing for her local title, and even though I didn't win that first local that I did, she was actually so kind and reached out to me and wanted to help me. As she had aged out, she wanted to help me fulfill my dreams and do my best in the organization. And because of that, I've gained a really close friend. And so I would say anyone looking to get involved, take advantage of the things that can not just be there for you for 1 year of your life, but that can be lifelong.
Mm-hmm. When you eventually crown your successor, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone who was true to herself, and as a result of that, just was authentic and was able to bring that to the organization and to the kind of the history of our organization, because I think there can be a lot of stereotypes about pageants, as we're not calling them that anymore, but that is part of our history, and I want to be remembered as someone who was able to bring a sense of just authenticity to everything that Miss America represents, and someone that encourages people and inspires people to be themselves and not feel like they have to put on a fake persona to become Miss America, because at the end of the day, the closer you are to being yourself, people can really identify and relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that I possibly did not touch upon that you would like to address?
I would just like for everyone to, like we did a touch on a little bit, is just get involved, even if it's as a volunteer. If you're looking for ways to be involved in your community, you can volunteer at a local or even become a part of your state committee in some way. And I'd also like to encourage people out there to remember that the arts matter, they are important, and be looking out for the things that I have coming up this year with my social impact initiative, advocating for the arts, because I'm really excited about doing some cool things this year, so stay tuned.
And how can people keep up with you throughout the year?
Well, I obviously have social media, because that is what you have in 2018. So you can follow my journey at Miss America and at Nia Franklin. And I also will be posting blogs about different events that I'm doing, and you can follow me on YouTube, and that link is on my personal page if you would like to follow, keep up with me and my vlog series as well.
Well, that is excellent. And I will definitely keep up and follow you throughout the year, and hopefully we will cross paths when you're here in Orlando, or I cross paths with you somewhere else across this great country of ours. Is there anything else you'd like to touch upon? Any shout-outs, recognitions?
Shout out to my family in North Carolina. I'd also like to give a shout out to Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. Like I said earlier, I'm really looking forward to the visit that I'll be doing in Orange County. And I'd like to give a shout out to Sherry Hill, a lot of our sponsors, Rebecca Minkoff. We're really excited about those partnerships that will be lasting for the year, and they're actually a little new to they're pretty new to our organization. And so really looking forward to that as well.
And today's very special Pageantry podcast guest, was Miss America 2019, Nia Franklin. Nia, thank you for visiting with us today, and I look forward to catching up with you and following you throughout your year of service as Miss America.
Awesome. Thank you.